What's going on, people? Welcome to the United Stand. I've got a very, very special guest with me today. First of all, I'm at the luxurious shop, luxury boutique shop here in Perth. Make sure you guys check that out. That'll be in the vlog. But I am here with Mr. Simon Peach. Now, before you even kind of do that whole Mr. Simon Peach handshake, for those of you who don't know Simon Peach, anything to do with transfers, you know, your Reddit tiers and all of that stuff in terms of reliability for journalists, this is your guy. He's humble. He might be like, oh, I don't believe in all of that nonsense, but you are, man. You're like one of the most reliable guys out there.
Well, supposedly. No, it's nice to be respected. It comes with a bit of pressure, actually, because you want to be right every time. That's pretty hard when people are trying to... They say things for their own benefit, and you've got to cut through the crap. So, yeah, that's nice to know. I mean, looking at that tier, I've got to say, some of them are wrong. Yeah. I don't know who I speak to, if the mods or whatever on Reddit. Some of those tiers are wrong for some of my colleagues, but I ain't going to complain if I'm in the top.
You're up there, mate.
Yeah,
right,
well...
You know, what you say sticks, man. Do you know what I mean? But listen, we're here to talk Manchester United. I want to get your views on a lot of stuff. Transfers. Thoughts on how many more ins?
Well, there has to be two more. I mean, look, the noises before Herrera's exit was confirmed, when we knew Valencia was going, that was never going to be a big loss because he'd kind of been phased out already. But they were already thinking of four, a bit more than the 4 out, 4 in model that they tend to like, 3 in, 3 out. Look, Herrera needs replacing. When that tour squad came out, I thought the goalkeepers looked strong, obviously. Defenders looked pretty strong, maybe apart from a centre-back. The forwards looked strong. Obviously, Romelu could be leaving, but the midfield... I know Fred wasn't in it because of family reasons, but that's light. They need a minimum of one midfielder because they lost Herrera, but they've also lost Fellaini. And I know he wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but he's not been replaced, and he was a good plan B, and he was a good different option. And Fellaini were good options in the midfield. So look, I'd like from a neutral perspective that would like Manchester United to do well because it makes my life easier and it's better to watch. Yeah. I'd like a centre-back and a central midfielder. And I've thought this for years, to be honest. I don't understand why they haven't really signed an elite right-winger.
We've been screaming out for it for years. It's just
I've always wondered, every transfer window, like, they keep signing left-wingers. I know Daniel James can play on the right a bit, but from what I understand, he's predominantly on the left. Yeah. So they've got so many people there, but why not just... You know, by a right winger.
I mean, when the Perisic thing kind of fell through when we were in with him a couple of seasons ago with Jose.
He's a left winger as well, isn't he? Look, I don't pretend to understand everything about transfer activity and squad dynamics and balance and everything, but some of it is,
But from your perspective, are those key areas where you said the centre back and the centre mid? I think a lot of people would echo that.
Yeah.
From what your understanding of it is that a priority for United? Are they actively, definitely looking for that?
They're moving in that area. The amount of midfielders they've been linked with, some of it is just agents trying to force move, if their players linked to Manchester United, then they're more likely to get interest from elsewhere or there's a buzz around them. But I know that they are after certain central midfielders, not after, but like monitoring their situation. And the same with centre-backs. They are after centre-back. They want Harry Maguire, but they're not going to overpay for him, which in this market is pretty hard not to.
Exactly. The profile of player that United are bringing in, and Ollie spoke about trying to change the mould of player, the criteria. We've seen that obviously in James and Bissaka. Are they looking to just absolutely stick with the youth, people with potential, or would they look for, a cemented, ready-made player ready to go?
Well, I know that they want young, British if possible players. It helps with the homegrown quota, they understand the club better, blah, blah, blah. But they also are wary. I've spoken to people that have mentioned Juventus and the experienced players that they have and how experience has helped them. So they're not rejecting it out of hand, but it's just, first you try and get young players. And at this stage, they don't have Champions League football. You're not down Champions League football. Daniel James is a smart signing for that money. It might not work. But if you saw him yesterday, he's excited to be at this club. Definitely. Too many people are just using this club as a cash cow, or have done. be excited to be here, and you've got the Europa League to blood him in. So people like him, people like Greenwood and Garner that are already
perfect
here,
stepping stone for them.
the Europa League could actually really benefit United in years to come. It's going to be a pain this season. I mean, I'm not looking forward to a November trip to Ukraine.
No, neither am I.
But it could work out.
Solskjær.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk more ins and outs shortly.
Oh, good.
Yeah, well, I haven't left that there. Solskjær, I spoke to someone the other day, I'm not going to say who, that he kind of felt it was like a long goodbye. He said, he kind of said to me, this is not what I echo, this is just what someone said to me. He feels like it's a long goodbye, it could be gone by November. Rival fans having banter with United fans, sort of saying, "Oh, I'll be gone by Christmas, don't know why you've done it. Honeymoon period, it was never, you know, da-da-da-da." What's your thoughts on him?
I want him to do well.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say about his appointment was that the only question he hadn't answered was how he reacts when things go badly. And he hasn't yet.
No. The last bit of the season was dreadful.
So the drop-off, which was around the time of his full-time appointment, they've not reacted to yet, which has probably brought this pessimism and disillusionment. I know there's obviously other issues that fans are annoyed by, but you've got to give him time. I mean, the fans that go to games, that sing his name throughout, he couldn't get much more supported. I know there's some people that don't rate him already have written him off, but it's hard to tell. Look, by his CV, he's not a Man United manager. It shouldn't be, but it's not about that. He understands the club, he understands players. That you're not going to find someone that understands it as well as he does.
What's more important, having someone who has all the skills in the locker? So we thought that was a Jose, we thought that was a Van Gaal, or someone who has, you know, a long history with the club?
Look, so the DNA thing, I do think is overblown a little bit. I think it's important. I think with Solskjær, I think it is a good mix of skills, experience, and then the history with the club kind of brings him up to a level where he could be a success. Sometimes I think it's overblown because I'm pretty sure Sir Alex Ferguson didn't have any Man United DNA when he came in.
Exactly.
So
forget that.
Having everyone in the club with Manchester United DNA is a nonsense. You can't do that because you won't get the best candidates. And I hope they haven't gone too far down the United DNA line.
And it's like running the club off emotion rather than logic and prowess and experience. You know, can't just do it on a bunch of people who really love the club.
United have a proud history of bringing through youth players. That's great. But at the same time, you need to bring in big name players and stars to help them and complement them.
Moving on from Solskjær. Now, I know you're probably bored of talking about this specific subject, this specific player. Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know he's come out and said, I'm looking for a new challenge, etc., etc. Raiola, we know what he's like as an agent in general. We're not going to go into that.
So do United.
Yeah, exactly. Some fans said to me, Pogba got booed earlier in the tour, first couple of days at the Crown Hotel, because he didn't come over. And whenever I've seen him, he has been, especially at the open training session at the WACA. Just his situation and where United sit on it, and where you think Pogba sits on it, and what solution there is to this issue.
Well, that's the $1 million question. So, United's stance for a long time, last summer and through, was just not for sale. Now, they're not saying he's not for sale because how everyone's for sale. I think they were just trying to make the point that just ignore this speculation. But United are under no pressure to sell. Yes, there's a bit of noise from Mino Raiola. There was that, I think it was a bit disrespectful what Pogba did out in, was it Japan?
Japan, yeah.
I don't think that's necessary. It's hard to tell what he really wants. There's a report that came out yesterday that he just wants reassurances about the way
a long contract.
which is fine. But there's ways of going about it. And look, Paul Pogba's not the first player to have gone out publicly and suggested he wants to move elsewhere.
Really done it.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and his legend has stayed the same, hasn't it? So, I think if he does stay, he needs to knuckle down. I thought Solskjær could have gone a bit harder on him the other day, but maybe the fact that he didn't is a suggestion that he is going to stay. Look, if he does go, I don't understand how that leaves Manchester United. They won't have time to replace him, surely.
Is there not now? With him, obviously he's here on a tour.
Look,
if he does go, could be...
He's the top, right, so I think the way that a lot of top 6 clubs operate is under the understanding that there's a elite band of like 15 to 30 of the best players in the world. They're very, very, very hard or very, very expensive to sign.
Yeah.
Then you've got like a group of 300, which are 8 out of 10. But the difference is now in the Premier League, everyone can compete for them. My beloved Southampton can pay X amount and get them.
Yeah.
Or Xherdan Shaqiri will go to a Stoke or whatever, stuff like that. There's competition in that market now. So how would United be able to bring in that top level player? Because he's a star. He's the star. He's the star name. Look, United, and I know some people think they aren't completely commercially driven, but there is a star. There's a stardust that's always been there. And if he goes, where's the stardust?
Do we always have to have one of them in our team?
Well, you don't have to have one, but you have to make one. And at the moment, there isn't someone, is there? No one stepped up, and it wouldn't be United without star names.
If he stays, because of you look at how it ended, and I know it's very reactionary because we just lost 2-0 at home to Cardiff for the last day of the season.
64 days.
Oh,
Who's counting?
Don't remind me of it. I've tried to put it way back in the past, but you're right. The reality is it wasn't that long ago. Because you saw the fan giving him abuse, and it looked, on social media. You've only got to look at a couple of posts. He's a virus. He's a this. And I know Ollie's come out and defended him. If he is to stay, is there a way back? Is it as simple as, of course, he just needs to play good for 15, 20 games and show the real Pogba, and everyone would forget about it? Or is there a little bit more to this, where it looks like a lot of people have now turned on him or never liked him in the first place, and there's no way back for him? If he stays, could he come back from it?
I think he can. I think people have come back from worse. But I just think that if he does stay, he just needs to shut up. Mino needs to be quiet. That whether it's a gentleman's agreement that, look, in X amount of time we'll consider it or whatever. From what I understand and any dealings I've ever had with him, he's a really nice guy. He's genuine. I think sometimes he gets put off by like the star aspect of it. And he just needs to focus on being consistent, because between December and February or March, whatever, he was the best midfielder in the league, or one of them. That's why he got in the PFA Team of the Year.
Yeah, which raised a lot of eyebrows.
Yeah, it raised a lot of eyebrows, and it just shows when it was voted for, because at that point he was.
Yeah.
If you were doing it by sections of the season, he was in it. He just needs to be consistent. I mean, I was speaking to someone that's going to be playing against him for Perth Glory, and they were like, he is already one of the best midfielders in the world, but he will be the best midfielder in the world if he's consistent. And that's true, because he has all the skills. I'm not going to ever judge him for his social media output or his dances or his haircuts, and I think anyone that does is being ridiculous. But I will judge him on his football, and it hasn't been consistent enough.
Does he, a lot of people say, just the last thing on him, he's disrespected the club. He only came back as a publicity stunt. Jose didn't even want to sign him. It was pre-done by United. Just you talking about having a star name. It wasn't just about footballing reasons, and they haven't really built since they got him around that to help him. Do you think he has disrespected the club, or you think he's just, apart from when you said he did show disrespect in terms of what he said in Japan, do you think he disrespected the club in other ways, or that's just all blown out and it is a bit of a media agenda against him?
Don't you going on with a media agenda like Solskjær?
not you specifically. That's just what is out there.
One, I don't think it's a media agenda.
Yeah.
We're calling it as it is. There's a guy that we said was disrespectful for saying that he wants time to go somewhere else, basically, when he's contracted to a club that made him the most expensive player in the world.
Yeah.
And brought him through their youth system. Look, he's a great player. He's a good guy. All this stuff about him being a virus and poison, supposedly said by the previous manager. Well, I think if he felt ever disillusioned, the way he was treated by the previous manager, and he wasn't the only one, was pretty poor. So you can understand his head going a little bit. I was surprised. I interviewed him after the first game of last season, and I said, "You happy?" And he said, "Well, there's things I can say and there's things I cannot say, and I'll be fine."
Oh, was that you asking that?
Yeah, and I went,
Yeah. What did you just say there, mate?
Because normally in that area, the mix zone, the interview area, no one says anything.
Yeah.
It's Phil Jones says we'll come back from this draw, or we're looking forward to playing young boys in the It's normally very dull. So he obviously had something to say, and he had lots of opportunities to say I'm happy, stop the talk, and he hasn't. So if he's staying, I think he does need to do something like that.
Because he never does do that. That's what I mean. The ill-advised. I back Pogba a lot. I think he's a great player. There are times, like you said, about the consistency thing. That's my only issue with him. I do think like when people see him dancing on Instagram or whatever, it's how he expresses himself. It is a cultural thing. That's how people of that culture like to express themselves. Sometimes I do think that's misjudged. But as much as I back him, sometimes he does do something, and I'm like, oh, not even I can back. Like you're saying, just say, I'm happy at Manchester United, you know, whatever the future holds will be, but I'm here, I'm happy, and I'm committed to just winning trophies. Just say that and carry on walking.
He kind of did it a little bit. I asked him that question. It was Juventus away last season when he did the press conference, and he did kind of say that then. But look, he has won the World Cup. Yeah. He was brilliant, and he was a leader. And then he came back to a club which had kind of lost its way, and he wasn't respected or used properly by the manager at that time. So your head is going to be a bit over the place. He is the best player at Manchester United, technically. Yeah. So, and unless you feel you're going the right way, that's maybe where that reassurance thing comes in, because I'd want to be reassured that my company weren't going to go bust if you were hearing stuff. I'd want to be reassured that we were going in the right direction if I was considered one of the better people at that place. So it is understandable, and I do think that people forget sometimes that these are human beings that have a very short period in which they can be successful.
So they've got to make best decisions for them, right? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Good.
There's a scale.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it 1 to 10, not 1 to 5, to make it even more difficult for yourself.
Why would you do that?
Just because, you know, I don't get the chance to sit with you and speak with you much.
Right,
so
again after this.
I'm going to fire some names at you,
and
you're going to give me a probability on the scale.
And an explanation, or just a...
Yeah, actually, if there's a reason why you think yes, X, Y, Z, or no X, Y, Z, or no clue X, Y, Z, then yeah. All right, happy?
Yeah.
Right. Harry Maguire.
6.5.
Okay, what makes you say that?
Because Manchester United definitely want him. Yeah. They've approached Leicester. Whether people frame it as an official bid, an inquiry, an offer, it's all a bit black. There's grey areas in football. It's never black and white. But it depends what Leicester want for him. United are still in for him, but they're not going to go mad for the money.
80 plus and stuff like that.
Last summer they were willing, it's well documented, they were willing to pay big bucks for the right player, but the players that the manager wanted and the scouting team wanted, they didn't tally. Jerome Boateng, for example, was a player that Jose may have liked, but the thing the club were wary that they've been sold a dad and Bastian Schweinsteiger by Bayern Munich, so they didn't really want to repeat that, and he didn't exactly have a flying season, did he? No. Yerry Mina had an amazing World Cup, but he didn't have a great season at Everton, did he? So it's difficult. I think he'd be a good signing. I think there are other defenders that would be good acquisitions. It's just about finding the right ones. I wouldn't necessarily just sign Harry Maguire because, look, my partner's a whole season ticket holder, so I've seen Harry Maguire as a reserve player for Hull in the Championship and his rise. So it basically coincided with Marco Silva coming in as Hull manager. And it was actually at Old Trafford where he really came into his own. It was the League Cup semi-final, first leg. And he got the ball and he just ran up the pitch. It was like a runaway. That a lot, doesn't he? But that was the first time. But it was a runaway steam train. And I spoke to him after the match, and he was. Andy Robertson was at left back. That was quite a team, wasn't it? Wow.
It's like a legendary team now.
And he kind of stepped up a level, and he has grown and grown and grown. He won Player of the Year at Hull. He was M1 Player of the Year at Leicester. He didn't kick up a stink last season.
No, he just goes right.
But from what I understand, he hasn't kicked up a stink this season, but from what I understand, he has made Leicester aware that he'd be open to exploring other opportunities. Look, if Man City come in for him, it's going to be hard to...
Are they in for him as well?
They are interested in him. I don't know how formal their offer has been or inquiry. They like him, so it'll be interesting to see, because Man City can offer a bit more football-wise. Not necessarily as a brand or a club.
No, but they're competing for stuff like right now, and he's got a good chance of winning.
But do you know what? Some people like the challenge.
Yeah.
Which is why... And I'm only I don't know why I'm bringing him up, because it's only going to stay. De Ligt. There was always that nagging part in the back of my head going, even when I was told he wasn't coming. Yeah. He was the kind of character that I could see like relishing the chance to build United back to what they were.
Absolutely.
But as I said, it was always Mino Raiola club. Let's say that.
So 6.5 from Maguire. Another big one that we have to get a view from you is Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. Played in Sporting's game the other day when we thought he might kind of miss it because he's transfers etc. A lot of United fans thought, oh, he's not coming now. He's played for Lisbon and da 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 da. What's the scale on that?
I'm going to have to stick 5 and sit on the fence.
Really?
Well, I know that United like him. I reported that about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. But I was also told we like a lot of players. Nothing is imminent. And to me, nothing has changed on that sense. That
Nothing's imminent. That's why.
Well, nothing is imminent on any player, as far as I'm aware, unless something has happened while we're sat here. They're talking to lots of people. They're being patient. Look, everyone was going, why didn't you get Wan-Bissaka done sooner? And then when it happened, there was about 6 hours positivity. People going, actually, we got quite a good deal here. I know that quickly went back.
But they really had to work at that. That didn't just come.
Yeah, that was a good deal.
Yeah.
And a club like United, look, the market's mad as it is. Tyrone Mings going for 25 million.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy. I know there's always one signing like that every year, and like Sean Longstaff, 50 million. I mean, come on.
8 appearances or 9 appearances.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not enough. They like him. I know someone who plays for Sporting, who's grown up with Bruno, and he called him a beautiful man. I mentioned that he sounded a bit like Brendan Rodgers using the word beautiful, but he's got everything in his locker. He's a great player. He tailed off a bit towards the end of the season due to fatigue and stuff like that. But I was there in the Nations League final. It was the first time I'd seen him in the flesh.
He just couldn't score, but he was all over.
But he just kept shooting, and I was like,
both feet.
Just going bang, bang, bang. Yeah. He's gonna get better. He's a good player, but Sporting need the money. So my theory on it, and this isn't to say it's correct, is that this agent has been given the opportunity to tout him around. Look at the Portuguese media; it's a different club every day. So just because Man United like him, it's hard to. He's been told probably we want 70 million because Sporting need the cash. So I think Sporting will sell. But if Man United are patient, or whoever is interested is patient, the price will come down because the desperation of the seller will increase. At the moment, it's the desperation of the buyer, and that's what tends to drive transfer fees. So the cost should come down, or the negotiation should become easier the closer it gets to the deadline. Now, look, Ollie wanted people in early doors. I think he accepted that was probably a bit naive, because I'm sure he could have got players in early doors, but it wouldn't have been the right quality. So we'll have to see. I would like to see Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United. I have no idea whether that's going to happen. I just know that they like him.
Okay. Milankovic-Savic.
That's another one. Look, he's another 5 because they're clearly looking for central midfielders. I mean, I did the Mario Lemina story the other day.
I was going to ask you about him on the scale, actually.
Well, 5. I'm just going to keep going 5s because
loads of 5s. Just being honest though, because that's where it's at.
Yeah, because if Manchester United don't know exactly who they're signing, then how am I supposed to know? I know who they've inquired about, or who they're interested in. What I try to know. So, like with Lemina. The noise out of the club is, that's a bit of a red herring, but the people that I trust at Southampton, I covered them for 5, 6, 7 years. So some of my best friends still are at the club, so I know better than most about Southampton. I'm a tier 1 there as well.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you kind of like that little tier thing now, isn't it?
I might as well make the most of the nonsense. They like him, and he wants out. He's been left off the and I think he'd be a good value signing, because if Newcastle United are wanting £50 million for Sean Longstaff, and Saints are saying, look, have Lamina for 20, 25. People forget, he was playing the Champions League final 2 years ago. He played for Juventus against Real Madrid.
Yeah, he did. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sit here and act like, actually, yeah, you're right, because I'm not going to lie, when I first heard of that, I was like, that's a bit underwhelming. And I thought the fact that Southampton are letting him go so easily, he doesn't seem like a prized asset to them. I know he's been injured, but he doesn't seem like, actually, we'll wait for him to just be fit, because he, like you said, he was playing in the Champions League final. He done really well. I say, like, let's keep him. We can see something. Actually, United, you can have him for 20. It seems like,
well, it was always a gentleman's agreement that after 2 years they'd start being open to selling him.
Right. Okay.
So that's part and parcel of being a club of Southampton size. And yeah, he's played 3 games in 2019 because of injury. That's not a lot of games. No. But it's not because Ralph Hasenhüttl doesn't like him. Southampton are trying to shift a lot of players.
For their cash, because that's what they do. They're like a feeder club of the Premier League, isn't it?
Well, thanks, mate.
Sorry. But, you know, that's
6-3. What I would say is that they're trying to get rid of players, and they don't have many assets that are really good players. Lamina's one of them. So just because they wanted to sell him doesn't mean he's a bad player. Okay. It just means that they have a system. And Southampton's midfield is their strongest area. You've got Ward-Prowse, you've got Romeu, you've got Højbjerg. That's probably their starting three.
And he doesn't break into that if he's fit?
Yeah, he does. But they've solidified as a 3 while he's been injured,
So
and they've had this agreement that he can leave. So why would you rock the boat and keep a player that doesn't want? I know we've already spoken about players that are being kept and they might want to go, but a club like Southampton, they need the money at the moment because they're trying to be a sustainable club.
Okay. Let me throw one more in because we could be here all day. I'm going to throw into you a right winger of some sort that you may think actually there's on the scale.
I've not heard enough names.
Jadon Sancho, Nicolas Pepe, something like that.
Well,
maybe that's really far, but
no. Well, I know they're interested in Sancho, but Sancho's Champions League football and
he's looking down on us.
Well, he plays in front of 80,000 people every week. If you've ever been to Dortmund, it's a
an
mad
stadium.
place.
Crazy,
brilliant club.
Really good.
If I was him, I'd stay there for another year as well. But he sounds like he'd be open to United one day. Yeah, but I would like them to sign a right winger. I've not heard noises that they are definitely signing one, but an experienced right winger or a talented right winger would make a whole lot of sense. But it would have made a whole lot of sense the last 6 transfer windows.
We haven't seen it. So obviously, on the YouTube space, it connects fans with the club. It gives fans a voice to voice their frustrations and happiness and joy. We've been singing Ollie's at the Wheel, jumping around celebrations. It's been great. But from a mainstream media perspective, do you enjoy that kind of content, or do you think it has a place somewhere along the lines next to you guys?
Well, I think the two kind of complement one another, really. Like, there's always going to be a place for the mainstream media and reporting through more official channels in terms of news organisations, because what we produce gets you guys talking, and what you guys are talking about is what we have the ability to ask the managers and the players and the staff or whoever we get to speak to about, because we kind of just work in tandem without really thinking about it, I guess. I mean, I've watched your channel a few times, and obviously I know Rants, and so I've been keen to
him. That's alarming that you associate with Rants.
I don't associate with him.
Yeah, associate's a different word.
I advised him to join Twitter, that was about it. I'm worried about the beast I may have helped inadvertently create.
Yeah, you've created the monster. You've created that.
He's created the monster and I might have just fueled it. No, look, it's great. I think it's really important now that fans have a voice, and sometimes that voice is a bit too loud on certain subjects, and sometimes the knee-jerk reaction overtakes what really...
The reality.
Yeah. Just because Manchester United haven't signed 10 players doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I mean, if anything, if they sign 10 players, that's a bit more concerning, because I don't know, people are never happy, and I totally get that because the club is in the transitional period. But it's also important that the fans express what they think, and I think it's great. And as I said, I've watched your channel. I've laughed at some of the things Mark has said down the years. So yeah, no, it's good.
Do you think the club? Do you think that we could get closer? Do you think the clubs? I'm not talking about Manchester United. I'm talking about all Premier League clubs, all Championship clubs, just with fan channels. Do you think it would be good for them to kind of close that?
Well, distance? I don't know, because as you guys know, you have pretty hot takes. I mean, journalists do as well, but you have hot takes and everything.
Yeah.
So that's always going to probably be hard to have a really close relationship. But I think, like with the sponsors and stuff, I know you guys get invited to more events than the traditional media do now.
Because we're cooler than you.
Well, there is that. You still wouldn't be able to pull off there. But yeah, it's there. I think that's the area that you guys have an advantage in, because you've got nearly 500,000 subscribers. You go straight to an audience that you can spoil it down to, and that's brilliant. And you can be their voice, you can speak to them, and you can react better in those kind of environments. So I can only see the YouTube side of things and stuff like that growing, and I think that's brilliant. Yeah, and
from our point of view, I mean, that's what we want to do. I mean, I know you could have a stereotypical view, people can see it as, it's just a place where people go and shout and swear and, say things about players.
Sometimes it is.
It is sometimes when people are, angry after, but like you just said there, it is so much more than that. We are celebrating the happy times. We are trying to, for example, we've been out here on a tour. We've got such a demographic where people from all corners of the globe who would never get the chance to be anywhere near the Manchester United side literally say, thank you guys. It feels like I was there, you know, European tours, vlogs from when we go away in Europe, vlogs from here, and that's what it's about as well, just bridging that gap for fans all around the world to just make one community.
Yeah.
So appreciate your comments.
Yeah, and like I understand that. I try and communicate where I can with fans, and sometimes I think they can get a little bit kind of over the top. But I guess that's just the size of the club and the interest in the beast that is Manchester United.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. Top journo, tier 1.
No. We need to. Yeah, I am. But
I am.
But no, other people need to be tier 1 as well.
Yeah. Okay.
We can discuss that later.
Yeah. And like you said, he knows your answer. Unfortunately for Simon, and unfortunately for me, he's a hard worker.
He is.
Complex character.
Complex, but very, very good guy.
Hopefully throughout the season I'll be seeing Simon a lot more if he dares to come back.
See what the comments are like.
Yeah, see what if you slate him, he's not going to come back. So be nice. I'm sure you will. We're going to be going off to Singapore and then China. I need to go and get a rain mac. You've asked me to because I've just got shorts and t-shirts and it's going to be pissing down raining 30 degrees. How do you dress for that?
Well, I'm used to the rain, but I don't, not the humidity. That's going to be the killer.
I need to get shopping before I get there. Thank you guys for watching. Again, thanks to Simon for joining us. Make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe and share. We're nearly at 500k. I mean, wow, when I first started this channel, I had 124-ish.
Are you saying you're the...
Well, you know, I'm just saying, Mark, you know, I'm joking. It's down to you guys, and the evolution's been really good. But let's have a big push. We're going to have a big 500k party. Hopefully by the time we land back in England before we go to Norway, we'll be at that 500k. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.